pile up, the Trump campaign is turning to the courts for relief, but with mixed success. The Trump team scored a legal win in Pennsylvania today, but then a judge down in Georgia dismissed the campaign's attempt to disqualify late ballots. Shortly thereafter, a Michigan judge tossed out the campaign's challenge against the state's handling of its absentee ballots. But breaking tonight, lawyers for Nevada GOP just sent a criminal referral to the Justice Department regarding at least 3,062 instances of voter fraud, saying thousands of individuals have been identified, they did some cross-referencing, who appear to have violated the law by casting their ballots after they moved from Nevada. I'm now joined by one of the lawyers involved in the current legal fights playing out across the nation, Phil Klein, former Kansas Attorney General and director of the Amistad Project. Philip, this is pretty astounding from Nevada, but they aren't the only ones.
Well, we shouldn't be surprised that those who coddled and ushered in the summer of lawlessness have helped us have a fall election without law. And unfortunately, the law and the rule of law has lost its grip on the election process in the most successful democracy in human history. And that is a tragedy. It was the rule of law and equality before the law that helped us achieve that success. I've never seen such open defiance of court orders and the law since George Wallace stood in the schoolhouse door. We have to look closely at Philadelphia right now. The Trump campaign obtained a court order allowing people, as the law allows, to watch the counting process. The counting process should be transparent. It should be open to all Americans to see how their ballots are counted and tallied. They have defied that court order. They're still refusing to allow Republicans to gain access to see how the count is going. We have a prosecutor in Philadelphia who has threatened the president with jail if he shows up there. We have in the county next door, we have a prosecutor who threatened to arrest the person who was hired to put the video cameras above the drop boxes, which is required by law, by the way, so that we make sure people aren't shuffling multiple ballots into the drop boxes.
Now, I want to play something for you, Phil. Hold on. This is the excuse that the Pennsylvania Secretary of State gave for taking so long to count all the votes. Watch.
Counties are continuing to count. The final results are not certified until 20 days after the election, right? So I want to be clear, there's no final results happening now anyway. What's happening now is having enough ballots counted to actually see who the winner is, right? The farther apart that is, the easier it is to tell. So it's very close in Pennsylvania. The closer the race is, the longer it takes.
Philip, wait a second. Why should the closeness of the race dictate the speed with which the votes are counted? That doesn't leave a good taste in my mouth. What?
They're counted by machine, Laura, except in the case in Michigan, where the Democrat election official actually has Democrat officials filling out ballots for others who aren't there, completing the ballots, casting the ballots, and vote or.
But, Phil, I got to ask you a fundamental question here, because we're going to have Mitt Romney and maybe Ben Sasse marching down Pennsylvania Avenue any minute now, urging the president to drop out for the good of the country, concede the election, go on to raise money for the Republican Party, but to drop this. Would you recommend that he follow that or fight on?
Fight on. We deserve transparent elections. You have admitted violations of the law involving tens of thousands of ballots by election officials. We can't let an election stand where we have obvious and admitted violations of the law. We deserve in this democracy transparent elections. They need to take down the barricades. They need to provide the evidence that they have that is available to the American people about how they performed in their jobs. We need to see the logs that show when these ballots came in and when they were picked up. We need to see the video of the drop boxes. We need to have that evidence, which does not harm any privacy.
Well, we got to roll, Phil. But, yeah, the burden is on Joe Biden to show the rest of the country that this was an open and fair process and legitimate. Otherwise, it's going to hurt us.